A few months ago, a friend of mine, who essentially was an upcoming nature photographer, decided to spend a day and night alone in the woods outside of our town. She wanted to get photos of the woods and the wildlife as naturally as she could for her portfolio. She wasn't afraid of being alone, as she had camped by herself many times before. She set up a tent in the middle of the small clearing and spent a day taking pictures. She filled up 4 rolls of film on that trip, but something was strange about them. What she saw in those pictures has stayed with her ever since, and she's still trying to recover from the trauma that these images have caused her. Almost every picture she had accounted for, but some of these pictures saved on her roll of film was of her sleeping in her tent in the middle of the night. After a long day of work, there was nothing I wanted more than to have a nice relaxing shower. Under the drops of water, I felt the stress and tension wash over me. I stepped out of the shower, and I silently cursed myself, knowing that it was laundry day and I had no clean towels to dry off with. It wasn't really a big deal. I would drip dry and make sure that I took everything to the laundry the next day. I walked around the bathroom, letting the cold night air circulate over my body, which caused my skin to prickle. It was cold outside, but I expected the house to be a little bit warmer. I would have to call the utilities and see if there might be any problem with my heating. I didn't want to sit on anything for fear of soaking it. So I decided I would lay out my clothes for the next day. I stepped into the closet and pulled the cord to turn on the light bulb that hung from the ceiling. There was a brief flash before something was illuminated that I was not prepared for. A man, in one hand he clenched an old-fashioned straight razor. In his other hand was a roll of electrical tape and a bag of salt. There was a twisted smile plastered across his face that made his intentions very clear. I wanted to scream, but fear paralyzed my throat. I didn't know what was scarier, the realization that I was in this situation, stark naked, or the fact that he was too. I loved how my wife used to wake me up by whispering sweet nothings into my ear every morning. I didn't enjoy the pillow talk as much the day after her funeral. One sleepless night, I saw a woman outside my neighbor's apartment across the hall. She was dressed in a ragged nightgown and just stood there. When I asked her to leave, she turned around and ran towards me. I quickly shut the door and managed to get a glimpse at her terrifying blank eyes and her decaying pale skin. Now she stands outside my apartment every night, waiting for me to open the door. You are home alone, and you hear on the news about a murderer who is on the loose. You look out the sliding doors past your backyard, and you notice a man standing in the snow. He fits the profile of the murderer exactly, and he's smiling at you. You gulp, picking up your phone to the right and dialing 999. You look back out the glass and press your phone to your ear, and now You notice how much closer he is to you. You drop your phone in shock. There are no footprints in the snow now. It's his reflection. Don't dismiss this outright as the work of some raving lunatic. There's some sense of truth to this story, if you'll just hear me out. Look, we all wonder if time travel is possible, right? Well, let me tell you something. It is. I'm from the future, actually. I know you probably don't believe me, but seriously, I am from the future. It's a really great thing getting to see the past, watching events unfold and stuff like that. We know more now than we ever would. Behind all the fun, however, there's a more serious aspect. We aren't supposed to go in our own lifetime, and we are never allowed to contact our past selves. Let me tell you, I'm breaking that rule right now. Yes, kid, you're talking to yourself, your future self. I'm going to be executed for this, but you know what? I accept that. I'm preventing something by talking to you. Something that is worse than death. I can't tell you outright what you need to do, because the filters will catch it. This is the closest I can get, but trust me, I can, however, send a little message. You should probably read the first word of every paragraph now.